Hello and welcome to the 27th installment of my grading of all of the base game cards. If you want insight into the grading system, check out the description or click on the link in the top right hand corner to get to the first video, where I explain it all. But let's get started. Let's kick off today's video with one of my absolute favorite cards, Natural Preserve. For 9 MC you get a bit of everything. 2 useful tags, especially on Tharsis, where this card helps on Builder and Scientist. 1 MC prot, which is quite nice in the early game, but not too impactful. 1 point, which definitely is not something I like to prioritize early on, but makes this card super great for Vitor. And then the best part about this card, a special tile. This makes this card super flexible, as depending on the map you can pick up plants, cards, titanium, steel, heat, or even the South Pole Ocean on Hellas. Especially in a ground game strategy, having a super cheap tile can be a really nice way to get 2 more plants to get to 8 and be able to convert. Alternatively, it can be used as a way to teleport out of a bad spot. Maybe you place down a greenery on the north elbow on Tharsis, but then your opponent blocked your ocean walk with a city. Natural Preserve lets you teleport south to continue your ocean walk. Of course, this card does have one glaring downside. It has a low max requirement, making it unplayable in the late game. But in the starting hand or in the first few drafts, I would pick this 100% of the time. For me, it's a high B tier card. Next up, we got Nitrite reducing bacteria. Let's make one thing clear. If you play this Gen 1 and never get any bonus microbes from cards like Extreme Cold Fungus or Imported Nitrogen, this card will grant you 3 TR in most situations, since you'll get 1 TR in Gen 1, 1 in Gen 5, and 1 in Gen 9. The next TR you would get in Gen 13, which won't happen 99% of games. So is this worth it on its own? Well, if we're just talking points, it's much better than Release of Inert Gases, since it grants 1 more TR for less MC. But A, Release of Inert Gases is a really bad card, so not a good comparison. And B, Release of Inert Gases grants you 2 TR immediately, which means more development from the get-go. NRB will set you back hard economically in the early game for not much gain in total. If you combine this with ECF though, you can get a lot of TR out of it, but it's such an expensive combo that it's probably not worth it in most cases. Well, one use case I think this card is good for is Imported Nitrogen. If you see that card and already have a 1 point animal on hand, you'll probably keep it. And you can play NRB in the penultimate gen, take 1 TR, and then in the last gen, take another TR with the 3D microbes from Imported Nitrogen. But all in all, I think this card is too expensive for what it does in most cases, so for me it lands in D tier. But now let's talk about one of the best cards in the game, Nitrogen-Rich Asteroid, or NRA in short. This card is so strong and influential on every game that good players keep track of their opponent's plant tags and then try to deny them the third one in fear of them having NRA. Why is it so strong though? If played with 3 plant tags down, this card grants a greenery every other gen, not even factoring in placement bonuses. That's an insane amount of points at the end of the game. Also, the 3 instant TR, plus the TR you get from placing those greeneries, can help you get Terraformer if you can get this card down rather early. And then it's a space event, meaning you can pay for it with titanium, and there are a million discounts and rebates, which make this card even better. NRA is easily S tier, one of the best in the game, and except for the last gen, you should never pass it in a draft. Just keep in mind that you should avoid playing it if you don't have 3 plant tags. Last episode we talked about Moss, and now we'll talk about its bigger brother, Nitrophilic Moss. It's one of the best early to mid-game plant producers since it's reasonably cheap, but still grants 2 plant prot and that insanely valuable plant tag, which can be used in a green combo, for example to get NRA down. Of course, same as with Moss, it falls off in the mid to late game, since by then the alternative plant producers also grant instant plants instead of removing some, and therefore will grant you many more plants before the game ends. In the early game, I'd say Nitro Moss is better than Moss, just because 2 plant prot is so much more valuable than 1. But it also falls off harder, since its higher price means you don't want to just play it in the late game for Ecozone or Decomposers. Also, keep in mind that you'll actually need to have 2 plants to play this. If you yourself place the third ocean, it shouldn't be a problem since most of the time you can pick up plants with it. But if not, you'll need to get those plants somewhere else. Nitrophilic Moss is C tier for me. Same with the smaller brother Moss. And lastly, for today's episode, we got Noctis City. On Hellas and Elysium, it's a flexible but not groundbreaking city card. A bit more expensive than Cupola City, but playable into the late game. So on those maps, it would definitely be C tier. On fastness alone, it's a bit better than Cupola in my opinion. Why? Well, the spot on which you have to place it is quite good on its own. It grants access to both the south and north ocean walk, and good plant placement bonuses around it. And secondly, since no one can block that spot, you can surprise your opponent who has placed greeneries around them with Noctis City in the last gen and grab some guaranteed points. If you decide to place greeneries in that area without having Noctis on hand, you'll always have to factor in that your opponent could have it on hand himself. It's a card that you'll have to keep in mind and one of the best steal sinks in the late game. For me, Noctis City is B tier. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments whether you agree with my ratings or if not, how you would have rated these cards differently. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. And lastly, please check out my Twitch and my Twitter. See you in the next video.